welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for coming to our meetup. Really appreciate the last minute favor. So yeah.
Alright guys, so my name is Mark Neiman. I own Ultimate Pastime Sports. I've been doing this full time since 1991. I started collecting baseball cards as most kids do, and I've been lucky enough to turn a hobby into a career. So now it's kind of like passing the torch to guys like this. So here you go, Sasha T.
How you doing, guys? My name is Sasha. I got into cards about 3 years ago. Been doing it non-stop ever since. If you know me, probably know me from some of the content I've been putting out on YouTube or Instagram or LinkedIn or Twitter. So I'm excited to be here today and answer some questions.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited that you both are here to answer some titillating questions. Probably most of my questions are for me, so. So my first question is, how do I get from being a beginner in the hobby to your status in the hobby? And how do you, I guess, explain your status within this hobby? Whatever. I'm starting to get quiet now.
So I would say the biggest thing that you can do is treat people the way you want to be treated, because, I mean, this is a great question. Somebody once told me you could have your house broken into and they can steal everything, and they can steal your car, steal everything. One thing they can't take from you is your reputation. And that's something that I'm going to live with forever, and that's how I conduct my business. So.
Yeah, I think when you're first getting in, the key is to be a sponge. Go look for people that you want to replicate, because those guys have the most to offer, right, in terms of learning. Go to different shows, see who's doing well, see who's not doing well. Ask the people that aren't doing well, hey, what's going on? Just be a sponge. Get content off of YouTube, whatever. Learn from that, and then take everything and a little bit of everything from what everybody else is doing. Put your own twist on it, and see how it goes. That's what I would say.
And I would say one other thing too, it doesn't cost you anything to build relationships, to go meet new people. And that's something that will get you, it'll really help you go a long way in this industry if you build those relationships early on.
First of all, let's give it up for AJ.
Yeah.
So my question is, do you think that the international market will ever grow, seeing that most collectibles that kids are, collecting over there are more sticker-based as opposed to card-based? Do you think that's holding back sports like soccer or cricket or even F1 type stuff?
I think that everything that is done in the U.S. eventually becomes international and vice versa. So, look at what's happening here with soccer. It's crazy right now. And you got the F1 market, which is hot. So I think as far as a collectible goes, I think it's going to feed off each other. The international market's going to feed off our market, and our market's going to feed off the international market.
I think the international market in terms of soccer and F1 has already grown. I remember I put a post on my story a couple days ago, and it was an article I wrote in January of 2020, and it was Messi's. I was talking about the soccer market and how it's undervalued from what I saw then. And I was talking about Messi's main rookie card as a PSA 10 at that time was going for $5,000, January of 2020. I think the last two sales were 270,000, and the other one is in the 200,000 range as well. So I mean that's a pure example of the market growing at an extremely rapid rate. And at that same time, a LeBron Chrome rookie PSA 10 was $2,000. So that $2,000 would have turned into $12,000 now, and that $5,000 for the Messi would have turned into $270,000 if you could find one because it's top 20. But that's one example of the international market growing, and also the U.S. market growing love for soccer as well. Yeah. A lot of guys from the U.S. I'd say too. But then also for F1, for example, I bought this Hamilton card at National for $25,000, and everybody was like, that was the biggest waste of money ever. And at that time, I went in with my friend, and he was kind of the one pushing me, and I had some hesitation too. But like a month or two ago, we were able to sell it for like $35,000, right? So we made $10,000, and I'm stoked. I'm like, all right, F1's growing, that's cool. Our card was a BGS 9, and then it turned out, and that's the highest graded of that copy, and it turned out a BGS 8.5 like last week or 2 weeks ago sold privately for $50,000. So our BGS 9 is probably 70. So like those are two perfect examples, I feel like, of like, look, like this stuff is happening and it's happening now. And you know, if you put in the time and you put in the research and you talk to different people, I feel like everybody here can kind of get their little piece of that, and put their own twist on it, and buy something that they're able to be ROI positive. Because at the end of the day, you know, we have collectors, we have flippers, we have investors, but it all works together, right? And even if you're a collector, I feel like you want to make money too, right? I mean, that would be dope.
How do you guys do your research, like on certain cars or certain markets? Like, what apps do you use? If there are any apps, or like, what is your research process like as far as buying goes?
So as far as buying goes, this is a performance-based market. So, I mean, baseball, you have so many options because the minor leagues are so deep. There's so many prospects. You just have to look at the guys, where they came from, what they're doing. Basketball, kind of same thing. Football, what's crazy about this market is baseball literally changes every day because they play so often. Basketball, you have a couple days to sell stuff, and football, you have an entire week to sell stuff. So as far as doing research, just go back and see where they came from. See where some of these kids came from, and see who you think has the most potential. And there's always going to be sleepers.
Yeah, so for research, I mean, one tool I always use is Card Ladder. I really like what, you know, they've put on there, Chris, Josh, and Christina. And actually, they just sold to PSA the other day. So that's really cool. I'm excited to see what they implement into the PSA system. But I use Card Ladder a lot. I use Alt's price tool a lot. And then the other thing I do when I'm trying to learn, you know, different players in different markets, you know, I have a core kind of group of guys that I always pester and call, and trying to gain as much information from them as I can. Again, guys, if you're trying to learn a specific set or a specific market or a specific player, you want to find the people that know and are the experts at that sort of area, and soak as much information and get as much information from them as possible. You know, all of us have started from, you know, point A, right? And you're not going to get anywhere by just doing it all yourself. It's just not going to happen. You're not going to be able to gain, I mean, it might happen, but it's going to take way longer than getting it, you know, being cordial and friendly to other people and trying to get that information from them. So I would say that I ask questions. I ask a lot of my friends, and then I use tools like Card Ladder and Alt and stuff like that into the arsenal as well.
I mean, and when it comes to going to a show, you could go to a show and you could leave the show and not have bought anything, but if you can leave with more knowledge than you showed up with, that's a win. Because you're not going to learn anything by talking, but you can learn a hell of a lot by listening.
Well, I just learned a lot today, guys. I hope y'all were listening. But yeah, guys. Does anyone else have a question before I let these gentlemen go and make deals and buy what they like?
I don't have a question, but how many people in here over the last month have sales slowed down at shows? Put your hand up if it has. You guys hear that? How many people over the last month has sales have slowed down at shows?
Raise your hand.
That's like a decent side. Or I guess that side is just killing it over there. But why I'm bringing that up is there's a shift in the market right now currently. A lot of money has shifted, right? Last year, a lot of money went into base, it went into silvers, it went into stuff, product like that. institutional money. Institutional money has gotten smart. They're going after the high end, the stuff that can't be replicated right now, right? So at shows, what are we seeing? We're seeing base, we're seeing silvers, the stuff that's kind of just there now, right? So what I want to bring up is like, look, if you're going to a show to find deals, it's going to be tougher. If you're going to a show to sell, it's going to be tougher. Look for places like alt liquid auctions. Nobody knows about it. Literally, like nobody talks about it. The people that do know about it don't want to talk about it. Prices on there go for like 70, 80% of comps. You can literally buy that card, either put it up on eBay or bring it to a show and sell it, right? PWCC monthly auctions. They don't have it on eBay anymore. It's all on their website. You know how many cards end at one night? It's not possible for all that stuff to go at comps. So if you put in the time and you put in the research and you shift your strategy to online based, I think you're going to see a good ROI over the next couple months. Like in terms of my business, 70% of my business now, I buy off of online. I don't buy at shows anymore because it's way tougher. So I just want to bring that up because I see you going into shows. Mark sees going into shows. It's tougher now. So you got to find different ways to be able to create that, that margin point and that profit.
You always want to go to shows to buy stuff and to sell stuff because I'd prefer to deal, in person and be able to know who I'm dealing with, see the card I'm getting, and so on. Now, there is another opportunity, like Sasha was talking about, to be able to buy online. Like, I buy eBay auctions, I win auctions, I'll relist them in my eBay store, and before they're even off the sold page, I would have resold it and made 25% on it after fees. So there's a lot of other opportunities out there right now as well.
Well, I am not a resident expert like these gentlemen, but I have noticed the change in the hobby, and what I did to change my strategies in shows were to create games, because I know the hobby right now isn't as straight up as it was like a year ago, where you get it's a two-step process where you get the card, you get cash. Now it's like a four-step process where you get the card, you trade the cards, you trade it 3 to 4 ways, and then you get the cash. So it's no longer straight up, because everyone, I think, in the market is just really sharp, or maybe it's just SoCal and I haven't left SoCal, but everyone here is just really sharp now, because either they got, like me, got burned at the beginning of the hobby and got really smart about it, or apps like alt, started changing the landscape of the hobby. So it's a tough market because everyone is that much more knowledgeable, I think. I'm not a resident expert like these two guys, though. How about crypto? Yeah. How did crypto change the hobby game? Like the transaction rates with from the ratio from cash to crypto, how did that affect the market?
So I personally don't deal too much in crypto. I know Sasha deals in it a little bit. But I would say, the pump on those LeBron Topps Chrome 10s, I would definitely say crypto had a lot to do with that. When Bitcoin went crazy, people were, hey, I'll Bitcoin you, 40,000 for a LeBron Topps Chrome 10, and they would take it to a show and sell it for 35,000 cash, and kind of cash out. So I would say it definitely had a big play in it, but I'm curious to hear what Sasha has to say about that as well.
Yeah, I 100% am on board with crypto and cards are aligned as a market. We saw in May when the market started going down, that's when crypto was going down, right? And people, like you said, take their crypto money and their profits and they put it into cards. And then when the card goes up, they take their money out and put it into crypto. So it is something to think about as a business. Hey, do I want to start accepting crypto payments and paying out in crypto? I think eventually, probably in the next 10 to 15 years, most businesses will be doing that. And I would say this, and Mark always says it, buy what you like, but also take profit out. I 100% agree with that. Last night, what happened with crypto? It went to shit last night. I don't know if you guys are paying attention. ETH went to 3,500 last night. Bitcoin went to I think I bought in at 46,000 last night. It was 60,000 3 weeks ago. So in the matter of minutes, stuff can go down, right? So you don't want to be leveraged at the point where, hey, look, I got a good deal, or I got a good deal on crypto or cards, but then when, the market goes down 20%, you don't have enough money to go buy in then. You want to be able to, have that money for a rainy day, like my mom always says. So when that happens, you can go and make those plays, right? Because that's truly where the real profit is made. So, the one takeaway too, especially all you guys that have inventory and at these shows, you want to have that kind of cash reserve to be able to make plays when other people can't, because that's usually the best time to make an investment.
And kind of to feed off what Sasha was just talking about, for all of you who want to get in this full time and do this as a business, one thing I can tell you, like Sasha said, his mom would always tell him to save money for a rainy day. Guys, never overextend yourself, okay? There is no deal out there that's worth you risking your family relationship, anything like that, okay? There's always going to be other deals, so never overextend yourself and have fun what you're doing. If you're not having fun, don't do it.
Dude, those were some awesome gems. I got a question though. So in this day and age or market right now, what is the play? Do we go offensive and buy because things are going low, or do we play defensive? What is the play?
Personally, I always say just adjust to the current market. So you buy today and you sell today. Yeah. And people who are losing right now, take that loss and put it into today's market, and you're going to make a profit.
Yeah, I agree with what Mark said. You want to be able to buy right now you have to buy at a price point where you got to be able to make your margin and sell at, which is probably going to be lower than what it was 6 months ago. 6 months ago, people will be paying, 85 to 90% because they're just able to turn it so fast. Now you're not able to do that, especially with a lot of the base and silver cards. As every auction goes down, 5%, you need to be able to buy in at a margin point where you're able to flip it within the next, couple days or week, and leave, some meat on the bone for the next person, or else nobody's really gonna buy it. So yeah.
Oh man! All right, I think I got a last question. If no one has any other questions, I'm gonna just hog them for a little bit. So, where do you see the hobby going within the next 5 to 10 years?
The hobby isn't going anywhere. Prices might change a little bit, but the hobby is not going anywhere. This has been a strong hobby. People have collected sports cards for 100 years, and that's not going to change. The prices are going to change, but the hobby is not going to change.
Yeah, I think that there's two different variables here. Like you said, price points and the hobby industry. Institutional money has been going in. Places like Whatnot are getting 50 million, and places like Alt are getting 50 million from investors. So in terms of, and then PSA buys, a card ladder. So that stuff isn't going away. The hobby's going to be more institutionalized, and it's going to grow to the everyday consumer. If you think Fanatics isn't going to get, the everyday sports guy to get into cards, you're just wrong. They are going to do that. The difference is the prices, right? The prices aren't necessarily, in my opinion, correlated with that, right? Especially with high pop or higher pop stuff. It's just it's just supply and demand on that matter. So you want to look for stuff, and you just like how you guys always do it. You want to turn into base into lower pop stuff that people will have more demand for. Then you flip that, then you go buy a lot deal. There's systems in place where you're able to turn and make profit and put your stamp into the industry and the hobby. Again, it's just a matter of the twist you want to put on it. But at the end of the day, I'm really excited about where the industry is going to be in the next 5, 10, 15 years.
All right, guys, I hope you heard that, because the hobby isn't going anywhere. And for those of you that are a little nervous, you don't need to be nervous anymore. The speakers have spoken. Again, guys, thank you for your time. Hopefully I didn't take too much of it. I really do appreciate your time. Forever grateful for you guys. All right, guys.
And guys, you got to give it up for AJ here. The LA Hobbyist putting on one heck of an event here, guys. AJ, and thank you to Robert and Krista here at Diamond 9 for for letting AJ do his event here, and look forward to the next one. Thank you.
I thank the vendors and the customers and everyone who's participating. The hobby isn't the hobby without you. So just remember that. All right, guys. Much love.